My mom always had a different guy around, and one of them liked to touch me. I was watching this Oprah episode, and I finally worked up the nerve to tell her what was going on. Do you want to know what she did? She married the asshole.
Now, this has been a brewing question ever since day one. What is Effie's backstory? We learned a little about what she went through when she was a kid in this conversation with Tariq, and we are going to get into that in this breakdown. But this is a question that we've been asking for now, 5 seasons? And with 3 episodes left, we're about to find out, or at least part of her backstory. We are coming to the end of Power Book 2 Ghost, and I'm not too sure how much they can actually dive into, but we're going to get into all things Effie looking at her chessboard, which is something we haven't done in a while. So, in this breakdown, we're going to dissect her relationship with Kane. We're going to ask a few questions around her mom being introduced. Will we finally find out who her brother was? And finally, I think the biggest question, will Effie survive come the end of Power Book 2 Ghost Season 4? Now, let's start by looking at her relationship with Kane in a bit more detail, because that will give us a foundation to transition into the topic about Effie's mom and also her brother. I asked a question after 406, which was, will Kane protect Effie? The reason I asked that question was because it was clear to see that Kane genuinely still cared for her. He did a lot to help Effie with no agenda attached. I know in Power we're so used to kind of seeing people asking for favours, but expecting something in return. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours. But with Kane, it was quite the opposite.
Thank you for everything that you did. Everything that you did with no agenda. I forgot how that feels.
Kane didn't want anything from Effie in return. He was doing all of this because he wanted to, because when you actually think deeper, they are a lot alike. They both find themselves kind of alienated from their families, on their own looking to forge their own path. I also feel like both have gone through different kind of traumas when they were younger. Just like Woody McClane teased before, it comes from deep emotional pain. However, I genuinely think by now, Effie is just so used to disappointment. She told Kane that she'd wait for him at the penthouse for when he gets back from Noma's, but she soon realised Kane wasn't coming back, just like she was kind of left disappointed in Season 1. Tariq asked her to stay at Stansfield, and they were supposed to spend some time together, but after Tariq's circumstances changed after 2-Bit's return, Effie was let down, and so this was no different. It does also kind of prove Effie's point in the sense, this is why she prefers to be independent. If she sticks to doing her own thing and being on her own, nobody can let her down but herself. Just like she told Tariq at the beginning of 301, she wanted to remain her own woman. She wanted to have her own identity and remain independent, so I do think this one hurt. Now we also have to ask the question, what will Effie make of Kane's proposal and him marrying Noma? She definitely won't be happy. However, just like I mentioned in my Kane breakdown, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if Kane is thinking about the bigger picture when it comes to marrying Noma, with one of them being buying Effie's freedom back. If he's able to take control over Noma's organisation, and if he's able to be the man in charge who's calling the shots, he'll then be able to give Effie this freedom that she's looking for. So, the question that I asked after 406 still remains valid. Will Kane protect Effie? Now, as Effie was kind of disappointed at the fact she waited for Kane to come back and he didn't show, who's also been a disappointment in her life, her mom.
What about your parents? They know what you do to get by?
My parents. Let's just say they leave me alone and I leave them alone. I'm good on my own.
Now, she has referenced her mom a few times across Power. In conversation with Diana in Season 2, she mentioned she doesn't have much of a relationship with either of her parents. She leaves them alone and they leave her alone. If we also rewind it back to Power, she also mentioned that her mom was a bit of a drunk, especially after the death of her brother, who was killed in a robbery gone wrong.
Ever since my brother died, my mom is sober like 2 hours in the morning when she wakes up. Rest of the day is a fucking shit show.
Brother died?
Stupid shit. Probably gone bad.
Now that's also another question which, who knows, could we finally get the answers to as to who her brother was, especially if her mom is appearing. If her mystery brother is revealed, let's see if they kind of tie it into the wider Power universe. Although I do always mention, not every single character has to be connected in the world of Power, but what I would have genuinely liked to have seen or been revealed in Power Book 2 Ghost is Kane being behind Effie's brother's death. I did raise this theory a long time ago. I would have loved to have seen just how when Kane and Effie are building this relationship, you then have Kane opening up to Effie about his first kill in the streets, and how it was a robbery gone wrong that resulted in the death of one of the guys in his crew, which then would have made this relationship a bit more complex and also added a bit of spice. We then get the answers as to who Effie's brother was, all while connecting it back to Power and also the present storyline, while giving it some real purpose and meaning to Book 2 Ghost. At least that's what I would have liked to have seen. Now there was also another moment during season 3, where she opened up to Tariq about how she was sexually abused by one of her mother's boyfriends. She finally plucked up the courage to one day tell her about the situation after watching an episode of Oprah, but instead of backing her daughter, she went and married the abuser. So that's a bit of background and backstory in terms of some of the things we've learned over the years when it comes to Effie's mom. So, who is she? I'll raise this point in my trailer breakdown. This shocked look from Effie as she opens her door could definitely potentially be someone that she's not seen in many years. Or, Power could genuinely be using standard trailer manipulation and it could actually be someone else. I genuinely wouldn't be surprised. But, with Effie's mom calling her towards the end of 407, I think we know. It is about time we saw her pop back up in Effie's life. And it is about time we found out who she is, giving us a few answers as to Effie's character. Now, I'm not going to waste my time trying to guess who Effie's mom is. I mean, it could be anybody's guess. But the question we should really be asking is, why now? And what impact will she have in terms of Effie's mindset going forward? For example, is Effie's mom still a drunk? Is she in trouble financially? And is this why she's calling Effie or turning up at her dorm room unannounced? I mean, it really wouldn't be the first time we've seen a drunk or a drug addict of a mother on Power. So, could she be in trouble, and is this why she's here? Or, during the years that Effie and her mother haven't been in each other's lives, could she have gone into rehab? Could she have fixed herself up, maybe found God, and finally got into a position in her life where she can finally approach Effie and have this conversation with her that definitely needs to be had? Kind of a similar situation we saw with Jukebox and Kenya in Raising Canaan. I do think it is one of those two scenarios. She's either one, still a drunk and a complete mess, and she's come to seek help, or she's actually managed to turn her life around, leave her abusive partner, and finally have this conversation with Effie. I think this is what we should genuinely be looking for when we ask the question, why now? Now, also circling back around to the point around Effie's brother, who was said to be killed in a robbery gone wrong. If we're going to see her mother, I do think it is the perfect opportunity for them to finally reveal who he was, or at least just drop a name. He doesn't have to be connected in the wider Power universe, but some answers would definitely be nice. Now, having said all of that, it does seem like the writers are actually beginning to humanize Effie's character by finally giving us this backstory, and I have said countless of times before, are they gearing up to make us feel sorry for Effie? Are they going to give us this backstory to explain why she is the way she is, and all the trauma that she's been through, maybe patching things up with her mother, just like Diana has done with Monet, only for her to then be taken off the chessboard? Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me, because we are getting to that stage where we do need to see a major death in this show. We haven't seen a major death for a while, and even though Lorenzo, I guess, was a Tejada, was that a major death? Mecca, again, he was a huge character, but they introduced him in season 2 and took him out right at the end of the season. So, I'm ready to see them up the stakes. I'm ready for 2 or 3 big deaths, not just one. I think a lot of characters have earned their death, but with Effie in particular, we also have to look at the fact she is stuck in the game.
I will follow this car to lead.
Yes, you will. While Effie continues her duties with the Russians.
Noma won't just let her leave. Despite Kane bringing the folder with the information on Carter's dirty task force, she knows that Effie is way too valuable for her organization. Like they've said before, she might even be their best soldier. She may not trust Effie, but Effie is the link to the Russians. Vadim also previously said she only wants to do business with Effie, because I think he has a soft spot for her. She helped Vadim's daughter get into Princeton by hacking into their database and changing her backstroke time. That's why Noma needs Effie. Without Effie, maybe her relationship with the Russians might crumble. So, just like Effie said to Diana in season 4, with Noma, you're either in or out with a bullet. And will this be Effie's fate come the end of season 4? Recently, Alex Lepre did give an interview where she actually said, when she looked at the script for season 4, she knew that it was going to be the final season. There are still a lot of conflicting reports and interviews, and we're just going to have to kind of wait and see till the end. But with Effie's character in particular, it does seem like they are taking her in a direction where basically it might be a dead end. Humanizing her character, giving us some answers to her backstory, and her not being able to leave the game. So, will Effie survive? I personally think she's one of the major characters who really is in danger. Or will Kane be able to protect her? Could she actually make her way to California and escape? I think we all know majority of these characters, there ain't gonna be no happy endings. It's just how it is. In Power, you don't get to ride off in the sunset and live happily ever after. So, either way, Effie is gonna be in huge danger. And with that being said, that's where we are with her current chessboard at this moment in time. Will Kane protect Effie in the long term? And why is Effie's mom coming back into her daughter's life at this moment in time? And what impact will she have going forward? Drop all your thoughts and predictions down below in the comment section, especially in regards to whether you think Effie will survive come the end of season 4. Is Effie on any of your guys' death predictions? But as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.